This is something that's not in the rule, but I would suggest again from the sportsmanship thing, because nothing drives me crazier, as an official, and I've been on both sides of a beating, and what I hate to hear is somebody yells out, "Let's all go left-handed," let's all, 3 passes or whatever. Look, they're already getting crushed. Call a timeout, bring your kids in, say it discreetly, hey, look, you know what, let's, 3 passes before we shoot. Let's move some kids around to different positions. Don't embarrass them anymore, and try and work. Again, that's not in the rules, but that really gets to me as the the spirit of the rule. Because again, they're not going to stop the game at 10 goals. It's going to keep going. So again, just use some discretion there. Here's the timing again that we talked about it. Don't kid yourself. Again, I'm not going to go through all this. There is no Braveheart. What happens here is there's going to be 1 overtime period, 4 minutes. If the game ends in no score in that first overtime period, then we're going to play another overtime period of 4 minutes. At the end of that 4 minutes, the game's over and it goes in a tie. We're not putting our helmets on our sticks and we're all standing there and we're going to do Braveheart now. Not part of our rules. It's a tie. And don't try and bully the officials or whatever and say, yeah, we're going to keep playing. No, we're not. In high school, you'll keep playing until there's a sudden victory, but not here. It's a tie after 4 minutes. Again, it's really a timing issue for us because we don't have the fields all day long. So again, 2 overtimes, that's it. There's no timeouts in overtime. In high school, you get overtime, 1 timeout in the overtime. You don't get any here. It's 4 minutes. We've got to keep it going. Here's something also that's different. The home team's responsible for a dedicated timekeeper. I know the CYLA is working on some handouts to get to the table personnel and to the clubs to make sure that they understand. I have no problem if a visiting team wants to go there and keep penalty time. The bottom line is this: the officials are no longer keeping penalty time or game time on the field. We want them to concentrate on what's going on out there. We heard some complaints of shaving a time or whatever. That's over. And again, it's the spirit of the rule. We're going to make sure that that table personnel is going to handle it properly. Again, if there's any questions, we've instructed them, and again, we'll talk with the table personnel. We're going to hit the horn twice. If somebody leaves the penalty area early, it's going to be on a dead ball. We're not going to kill a fast break. We'll come over and talk with the table and get it all figured out. So, again, help us help you. All of the penalty times are serving, and it's start-stop. So, the game clock will keep running. But once that kid sits in the penalty box and the whistle starts, that's when the penalty time starts. So again, start-stop time on the whistle. Don't let the referees try to say it's all running time. In the penalties, it's not. It's start-stop on the whistle for the penalties.
Now, what about the score? Officials keeping the score on the field?
We're keeping the score on the field, right? Again, there's going to be a scorebook. Again, we'll basically come over and report the score into the table, and it's all over. We're not going to sign any books, obviously, and we'll put the scores in. But yeah, we'll keep the score out on the field. And again, what's going to happen when we get into some of the rules a little bit in a couple slides here, we'll talk about this accumulated penalty time, because that's new as well. There are no horns, period, none. It's all substitutions on the fly. So everything's on the fly. So don't ask for a horn, because you're not going to get one. We kind of talked about all of this stuff again with the rosters Chris went over. Let's make sure that we get all the parents to sit on the other side. When I was a coach, nothing again drove me more crazy is when the parents were on the sideline. I don't want them hearing what I'm talking with my assistant coach or my players. That's not their prerogative. Make sure that they sit on the other side, because again, no good comes of it when they're all staying on the bench sideline. If there's going to be ball kids at some of the stadiums, they got to wear a helmet. And they have to wear a contrasting jersey so they don't look like the teams that are playing. I'm not going to go over all of these rules. Again, they're in your book, but these are, the age-based rules. Again, we talked about it. The swing and a miss is a slash, only lift and poke checks, only short sticks, right? This is, I think, 40 or whatever it is, 42. They can be 37 to 42, so we're only dealing with this. The one-pass rule applies. It's only to U8 and U9. The one thing that you coaches wanted to know is, can you have the referees tell us when the one pass has been, attempted, and now they can shoot? So what we've asked our officials to do is, once that attempted pass has happened, they're going to put up, a finger 1 and say 1 to let you know, now it's appropriate to shoot. Okay. Again, no body checking of any time. Coaches, get to be on the field, right? And I instructed my officials, and I've talked to all the other folks too, you know, about where we're going to stand on the field. Coach gets to be on the field. The biggest problems that we've had at this age group level are coaches that decide that they are going to coach inside the goal area. This is a no-no, right? You get that coach on the field to help these kids, and you get to coach, right? You've already got a coach on this sideline. Where we're asking the coach to be is out here in the alley. You don't get one on this side of the field and one on that side of the field. There's one coach on the field. He's got to stay out of the play area, right? Because now they start setting picks. It just becomes nothing more than a mess. Seriously, I've seen it happen. I mean, I see guys creep down here. You know, again, help me help you. Stalling's not going to be called. There's, you know, no, you know, the fouling out part of it. If they get 3 personal fouls or 5 minutes of accumulated personal time with the little kids, you know, they're going to get, you know, substituted. They're off the field and they can't come back in. That's where the table personnel is going to keep track of that time for us. Again, you know, they don't sit their penalties. They just go on. But again, if they, you know, continue to, you know, the habitual offenders, they can't come back in. Again, it's like basketball. They don't sit the next game. It's not an ejection. And away we go, right? We've got 4 quarters of running time. Yeah.
Who's supplying the personnel for the tables?
The home team is responsible, and then I would suggest that a visitor team would, you know, do the penalty time. You know, so again, if they want to be on the bench sideline, it would be a great chance for them to get a good seat. Okay. Let's move on up to U11. This is where, you know, we introduce the 52-inch stick. Again, the one-handed check is not allowed. The swing and a miss is a slash. There's no body checking. Man ball, you know, at all the levels. Again, if there's, you know, incidental contact, boxing out like in basketball, I'm good with that. You know, what we're really trying to stop is, you know, again, if there's a herd of kids and one kid decides he's just going to run in the pile and blow somebody up, you know, that's not going to be good. And again, if they're, you know, going to have a ball on the ground, we're not going to leave it on there very long. We're going to pick it up and put it in somebody's stick. Yes.
Can you clarify that boxing out in basketball is different than boxing out in lacrosse?
Well,
boxing out in basketball, there is no displacement of a player.
Right.
You cannot shove them 2 feet. So in lacrosse, is that still the same thing? Once you got box out position?
If I got boxed out and I'm using my butt and I'm pushing them out of the way, great.
Okay, so that's different than basketball.
Right.
So you need to clarify that.
Right. If I'm going to box him out, you know, again, that's part of our game, right? Incidental contact. What I'm not going to have is somebody go in there and to take it, you know, too far. Again, boxing out, pushing the guy out, I'm good with that.
So displacing a player via box
When
out
you
motion
box him out, again,
is
to me, it's
okay.
incidental contact, right? That to me is part of the game, incidental contact. Again, that's what we're looking for. If it gets overly aggressive and things like that, then we're going to call it. To me, incidental contact, boxing out, okay. If you teach the kids, you know, regular man ball, okay. Incidental contact, the body contact, not so much. And we're going to talk to you about it, right? We're going to call push, right? And it might have been on red this time, and the next time it's going to go on the white. The whole idea is I think you guys want to play lacrosse and not really get stuck into, you know, a big giant scrum, right? We're going to pick the ball up and then we're going to move it and get it up and off the ground. U12, this is where we start to initiate the body checking, right? It's permitted within 3 yards of the ball. Now you can have the sticks all the way up to the 6-foot defensive stick once you get into U12. Body checking's permissive, right? Again, swing and a miss is a slash. One-handed check's not allowed. So again, everything else stays the same. Stalling, again, stalling rules doesn't apply. Get the visual count. We're going to ask them to move the ball. Fouling out. Now we've got the 4 personal fouls or 5 accumulated minutes of foul time. Okay? Again, now it's moved up because the kids get a little bit older. Now we get into the U13 stratification because now we get to, you know, a little bit different. Again, you got the long sticks again. One-handed checks are not allowed. Swing and a miss is a slash. Body checking is permitted. All the same. Where we get different is when we get into the red. Again, we've got the no one-handed checks. You know, this I don't think applies. When I looked at the rules, this doesn't apply, but stalling rule does apply. They don't have the 20-second rule. We've got stalling rules. The get it in, keep it in rule applies. So again, the get it in, keep it in rule now basically is this. So, you know, what used to happen is every time that the attack would step out of the goal area, You see the officials doing another 10-second count. Now, once they get into the attack area the first time, they can bring the ball out into the alley, and you won't see the official counting again. If the officials believe that the attacking team is stalling and they're in the alley area, the officials are going to basically say, get it in and keep it in. So now you get it in, you're going to get your 10 seconds to get it in, and now you're going to keep it in. So if the ball comes outside the goal area, it's going to be a turnover, and it's going to be given to the defensive team, and they're going to take it out. So that's going to be enforced here at U13 red. Again, we're back to the same 4 quarters, 12-minute running time. Face-offs, the MCR rule doesn't apply at U13 red. Here's U14 white and blue. Again, we're back to the same thing with the sticks, full rules. Body checking is permitted within 3 yards of the ball, and everything else is the same. This is where we start to get a little bit different. What we're really going to try and do this year at the U15 is make sure, especially at the red level, is make sure we've got the right officials on that game. You know, you're going to see the senior officials that are on the game. This basically is where now the advancing the ball rule does apply, where you've got 20 seconds to get out of your defensive end, you've got 10 seconds to get it into your offensive end. You know, the fouling out is still the same with the 4 personal fouls or the 5 minutes of accumulated time. There's no MCR in effect, so there's no mercy rule, and we just play until the end of the game.